One. Welcome to my ultimate beginner guide for Grim Dawn. In this video I'm going to bring up some basic facts and tips that will make it easier for you before jumping into the game. I will put at least one fact and a tip in each of the different categories, and don't forget to like and subscribe if it helps you out. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. Grim Dawn can be played in 3 different difficulties: normal, elite and ultimate. You will unlock each one by defeating the final boss of the game in Act 4. This means if you own the other DLC packs, you don't need to play them on each difficulty to proceed to the next one. Higher difficulties will challenge you with more powerful enemies, but also rewarding you with better loot. There is also a veteran mode in Grim Dawn. This mode is only for normal difficulty, so you cannot turn it on while playing on elite or ultimate. Veteran mode does as well increase the difficulty of the enemies, but also reward you with more loot. You will also receive a 10% experience boost, so I recommend always starting with veteran on. If you feel that it's too hard for you, you can always easily just log back to the menu and turn it off and continue playing again. It's simple as that. In Grim Dawn you can choose from several different masteries to choose from. 6 from the base game, and you get 2 additional from Ashes of the Malmouth expansion and 1 from the Forgotten Gods. You can combine 2 of the different masteries, and that will create your official class. I will go over briefly what they are. If you would like to see a more in-depth video of me explaining each mastery, comment down below. Okay, first up is the Arcanist. The Arcanist is a powerful caster that controls ether and elemental energy to decimate his foes. The Demolition are mostly engineers using traps and explosives, and also using ranged weapons. Nightblade is an expert with all manners of martial weapons, using mostly melee. Occultist loves to see their enemy melt with different poison and acid spells. They can also summon minions to their aid. Shaman is a good hybrid of both melee, caster and summoner, mainly focus on physical and lightning damage. Soldier, well, kinda self-explained, unless this is your first game ever. That said, the soldier loves to go to close combat and smacks his foes right to the face. Inquisitor is a hybrid of magic and a gunslinger, using runes to buff himself and allies around him, and using elemental to boost his ranged weapons. Necromancer is the commander of death. He can be a caster, summoner or a melee, using blood magic and summoning minions to his will. And for last is the Oathkeeper. If you like to spin to win, this is the mastery for you. He can also go full Captain American mode, which is pretty cool if you ask me. How do you choose what to pick though? Well, first of all, let me just tell you, if you like Grim Dawn, then you are going to make a lot of different characters, so it doesn't really matter what you start with. One thing to have in mind though is that when you picked a mastery, you can actually look around inside of the mastery and check out what the skills does before actually picking it. Once you start to put points onto the mastery skill bar though, then you cannot change back to another mastery, so keep that in mind. You can pretty much play all combinations just fine, but some are better than others combined. One good way to look it up is either to look up a build guide, or as I like to do, is to go over to Grimtools. If you go to the item database and type set in the search bar, and select legendary underneath. If you scroll down a bit until you get to the level 94 ones, here you can click on a set, and once here you can either look up what the skill is focusing on. So for this I see here that it's Forceway skill, the Rune of Calator, and also Aegis of Menhir. In this case I already know what skills goes to what masteries, so I know there is 3 different masteries for this set. First is the Soldier, second the Inquisitor, and third is the Oathkeeper. And if you're new and you do not know which skills belongs to which mastery, then you can actually look up, you can either type in the skill in just Google, or an easier way that you can almost do with every single set piece is to scroll down a bit, and here you can check on the gear what mastery they provide with a plus to all skills on. So in this case, on the shield, we can see it's +1 for the soldier, and on the helm it provides for the Inquisitor and Oathkeeper. Doing this way, you then know that there is at least an in-game set available for you that utilize all of these different mastery combinations. When you start playing, you will have a couple of skills to choose from when you hit level 2. It is okay to regret your choice of skill if you think it sucks. You will get access to Respect quite fast in Grim Dawn, so you don't really have to worry about it. Feel free to try out different skills and combinations. In some cases, when I reach level 30 or so, I usually go and respec everything so I can max out in one mastery, and then I can put a couple of points to the end skill in that mastery. Respecing doesn't cost much, just a couple of coins. You can also respec your devotion points as well, but it will cost you 1 additional Aether Crystal per respec, and as well as some coins. These are fairly easy to come by though. Devotion is another layer of character customization in Grim Dawn, which allows the player to customize their skills with additional celestial power. While exploring the world, you will find these ruined shrines that you can recover with different components and crafting materials. Or you can fight waves of enemies at the corrupted shrines. Once you restore a shrine, you will receive a devotion point that you can then spend in the devotion window. You can earn up to 50 devotion points if you only own the base game, and up to 55 if you own the Ashes of Melmouth DLC pack. First, you will need to spend points in the crossroad so you can continue spending into others. For example, you can put 1 on the yellow one here, and as you can see, it will provide with a 5% health boost. But now after this, we unlock a bunch of different ones that we can spend more points in. And down here you can see what kind of points you will get when completing the full star picture. Let's have a look here to the left. Here you can see there are 5 different colors of affinities. As well, if you hold on one of them, you can see that some of them will light up. You can easily see which ones have what color. Most of the nodes provides with some sort of offensive or defensive stats, but there's also celestial powers that when you unlock, you can put them onto your active or your passive skills. You can check before what skills that you can apply on them, so you don't have to invest to it beforehand. So what I like to do is to go check for the outer ones, the big ones, and see what I need to unlock it. Let's take the torch for example. Here we can see that we need 8 red and 15 green ones to get this unlocked. So then we start to try achieve this by putting in 1 on the red and 1 on the green, and then moving along the way to get the points that we need. Defend here gives us some points for both, and it is a fire one, which is in this case what we want. So this will be a good pick for us. But when I usually start all of my characters, I usually go first for the lion, then the eel, the sailor's guide, lizard, and the jackal. All of them you can pick up pretty early, and they all provide a boost to movement speed, which I usually try to prioritize early on. I would also like to mention a good tip for the endgame, or after you have unlocked all of your points. Not many know this, but you don't actually need to keep your points onto the crossroad. Later on you can actually respec them to have them put in somewhere else. Maybe you will get enough points to get another proc effect while doing so, and that can be huge for your build. I will put a link to this in the description so you can mess around before you start playing if you would like to. Grimtools has a built-in loot system that you should use. There are quite a bit that you can change around here, but the most common ones are to uncheck the common and the magic box here, so we only see the green quality or better. Later on though, you might want to uncheck more. I like to go pretty specific on the damage type that I will be using for my class, but if you're new, it might just be best to have them on at first. Grimtools is a website that has pretty much all of the information that you would need to look up things for Grim Dawn. They got build guides people have been making. They got build calculators so you can go and test out for yourself. And my favorites, the item database, where I can look up all different kinds of item sets that Grim Dawn has to offer. Also monster database, great for looking up different kinds of monster types, bosses, where you can find them, etc. And the pet database, if you want to look up your pet skills, what they are, how much damage they are, and stuff like that. And the world maps for where everything is located basically, and they also got a checklist that provide a little bit more detailed view of the more important stuff to get. I will put a link to this in the description below. Monster Infrequents are rare quality items that can only be dropped by specific creature and bosses. They have plus to a certain skill, or more in some cases, and also adding unique additions to a skill. When you have chosen your skill that you want to use, you can go on and look at Grimtools what monster infrequent item you can get for your skill. First, let's go to grimtools.com, then click on item database and type in your skill name. Change to show only rare items. For this example, let's say we went with the necromancer and was going for a skeleton pet build. If we type in skeleton here and let's scroll down a bit, this mace for example is a very basic mace to use early on for skeletons. So here we can see that we get plus skills to the raised skeleton, and we also get some less recharge rate, and as well as one additional summon, which is pretty good for a starter weapon. Here we can also see the level and the stats required to use it as well, and also from where it drops. So once you've been playing for a bit with the skills, go and check them out. There can be some really good rare items that you could use for just your skill. Some items do have added flat damage on them, which is very huge, especially for the early game. Go check it out. There are 3 different attribute points in Grim Dawn. There is Physique, there's Cunning, and also Spirit. Physique increases your health and regen, and as well provides an increase in your defensive ability. Cunning increases your Phys and Pierce damage, and also offensive ability. And the Spirit increases your magic damage, also energy, and provides with some regen. I would recommend only going for Physique as much as possible. The main reason is because of the defensive ability. This makes it so that you are less likely to receive a critical hit, and it's very important later in the endgame. For Cunning though, I would never put a single point here, with the exception if you play a ranged build using ranged weapons, and then you might have to pick a couple of points just to equip your items. And the same goes for Spirit. I would only pick these if there is a specific item that I would like to use that requires Spirit. There might be hard to know at the start how much you should put in, for example, Spirit. It's mostly useful at the beginning, just take a couple of points, put them in spirit, but you can always use polished emerald, a component that's really good early on, boosting all of your stats. You can also choose to put some additional points into your mastery bar. This will also increase your stats a bit. These values does change though, depending on what mastery you have chosen. Components are crafting items that can be applied onto your items, adding different stats and bonuses. You can also from some get passive skills or even active ones. You will find a lot of them running around killing shit, but you can also craft many at the blacksmith when you unlock him. I would always recommend using them if you get one that you can benefit from, instead of putting it in your stash, saving it for later. You can only have one component per item, and it's good to know that you could always remove them using the service of an inventor. Augments are enchanted powders that as well can be used in your items, providing different offensive and defensive stats. These can be acquired from different faction quartermasters and require reputation with them to get access to buy them. Usually get them mid to late game, and I usually use them to get the last resist cap that I need for my characters. Good thing to know as well that you can have both the augment and a component on the same item, as well as it can be removed using the service of an inventor. As you adventure throughout the world, you will start to encounter different kinds of faction. There's both friendly and hostile ones. Let's start to talk a bit about the friendly ones. So, you're going to raise the reputation with all different kinds of factions throughout the world. At first, you will earn reputation just by completing quests and killing monsters across the world. Each monster type will give reputation to different factions. For example, Devil Crossing, which will be one of the first friendly faction. They do get reputation by killing members from the Cronley gang. Once you hit Respected, you can then also use the bounty table for even more missions and tasks to increase your reputation. And as mentioned before, these faction quartermasters can sell you different augments to apply to your items, but also some powerful equipment, crafting blueprints, and different consumables. In some cases, even getting access to new areas for you to explore. Moving on with the hostile factions. While you go mayhem killing everything in your path, you will also gain negative reputation to different monster types. The more you kill, the more enemies will spawn, the more of the rep you gain with them. And once you reach the status of Nemesis, you will unlock a Nemesis boss for that monster type or for that faction for you to hunt down and kill for some epic loot. My tips here will be that there are two different friendly factions that can easily be missed. You have to go and unlock them before you can start gaining reputation with them. First one is the Outcast. You can find them next to Fort Icon, and you will need to choose to be friendly with them. Be careful though, so you don't choose to be hostile instead. Once you've done that, there's no turning back until you get to another difficulty, like Elite or Ultimate, for example. The next one is Barrowholm. This one is at the town of Barrowholm, and here you need to help the people in the town with different quests to unlock. Same here as well, you can go hostile with them, and if you do, you can't change back. And the last one for you will be the Malmouth Resistance, which can be found in Malmouth Sewers. On Reverted with this faction, you get access to the one and only experience flask, called the Potion of Clarity. This one can be very handy for you, so it's really good to get this done. With all that said, try get this faction on normal playthrough, so when you then move on to Epic and Ultimate, you have them unlocked and will start gaining reputations with them from the start. And for the last one, just a quick bonus one, take your time. In Grim Dawn there are a lot of hidden areas to explore, From hidden treasure rooms and difficult side quests to alternate routes through levels and even entire secret levels not showing up on the map. Some places even have challenge dungeons tuned to provide you with some increased difficulty. There are a lot for you to discover. I got some videos explaining some of them, but I will make it for you to decide if you would like to spoil yourself or not. My opinion though, just take your time, don't rush things. I've been playing for almost 1000 hours now, and I still find things that's new and also things that impress me while I'm playing Grim Dawn. Thanks for watching everyone, this was my ultimate beginner's guide for Grim Dawn. Make sure to hit that like button if you find something here helpful. Also consider subscribing to the channel, it does help out a lot. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!